macros, India's trade deficit shot up to a 5-month high of $22.12 billion, with imports and exports both falling 5 to 6% on falling global commodity prices and some slowdown. Lata joins in with more details of what this means and how one should look at this data. Lata.
Okay, let's just pull out the table of the imports and exports over the past 5 months and how they have done on a year-on-year basis. You will notice that for May, right from Jan to May, exports and imports have been falling. So the first takeaway we get is both are falling in equal measure, imports and exports. The second takeaway we get from the imports and exports is, since both are falling by equal measure, it does look like the fall is largely because of falling commodity prices, which is affecting both categories. That's takeaway number 2. Takeaway number 3, let's come to only the export data, not the decrease or increase, just the export data. Look at May, April, Jan, Feb, all of them are around 34 billion. That is indicating that at least as of now, the so-called global slowdown doesn't seem to be hurting. Exports are not growing, but they're not falling either on month terms. So if there is a sign of global slowdown, at least it's not affecting just yet, not on the exports. Not growing, but not falling. Now let's come to the month-on-month imports. That is clearly increased. Look at May versus January. It's 57 billion in May compared to just 50 billion in Jan and Feb. So we are importing more. And I looked at the granular detail. Imports are largely machinery, non-metallic commodities, metallic products, chemicals, all of them used in industry. So clearly it looks like Indian industry is on a very strong wicket. The last 3 months are showing higher imports than the previous 3. So that's a very positive takeaway. The other takeaway is on services. Just look at the services exports. We were making a song and dance that they've been rising from strength to strength. But if you looked at May, it is quite clearly declined compared to what it was in Jan, Feb. So looks like services exports are not increasing as much as we thought they would. They're kind of stagnating or fallen a little bit compared to earlier in this year. And finally, look at the trade deficit numbers. The trade, these trade deficit numbers have taken imports plus exports. So the trade deficit is for May $10 billion, which is much higher than what it was in Jan, Feb and March. So trade deficit has increased, and it's increased to almost the same level it was average 2022. Not an alarming number, but we thought we are going to come very close to a current account surplus, that the current account deficit is absolutely decimated. Those hopes are kind of getting dashed a bit. Those are the 6 big takeaways from the trade data.
Okay, all right, Lata, thanks.